Welcome back, Detroit Lions fans. Steve here, Detroit Den 313, aka your number one source for Detroit Lions content. This is your go-to channel, okay? Normally not a solo show. Usually I'm with my guy Will, but he's out coaching football right now. Please, please, please hammer that subscribe button, hammer the like button, leave all kinds of comments. We love to create an atmosphere on this channel that is similar to a bar or your barbershop, whatever you want to call it. We're usually just two guys sitting around talking football, shooting the shit, seeing whatever comes up, whatever sticks to the wall. We love to talk Detroit Lions football. Listen, plain and simple, we got to move on from Tampa Bay. It's in the past. It's done. We can't change anything. It's time to look forward and move ahead toward Arizona, just like the Detroit Lions were doing Monday. All right. I know as podcasters, we got a lot of content to talk about, a lot of things to dive into, but it is time to move on. Let's get ready for Arizona. I think that Dan Campbell, I listened to his press conference today, and he said something that I didn't love. I didn't love it. It concerned me. It scared me. When he said that the offense might not be clicking until after the bye week. That is 4 weeks from now. Okay. Listen, Dan Campbell, I love you. You're the greatest coach in Detroit Lions history. You obviously have a way better football mind than me. As you can see, I'm a dude sitting in my office. You're coaching at the highest level in the NFL. But I don't think this offense needs to take 4 weeks to get clicking. We've talked about it. We've talked about it all probably about a week now. We've been talking. There's no reason for the Lions offense to keep struggling. We have veterans. We have coaches that have been around a while, players that have been around a while, offensive line. Everyone's been meshing together for years. This isn't like we've drafted 4 rookies on the offensive line. Like, there's no excuse for this offense to not be firing on all cylinders sooner than 4 weeks from now. We got to get ready for Arizona. And even if you told me that the Lions won Sunday and we were 2-0, this Arizona game, I've had it circled. This is one of those trap games, okay? And I think that the Lions losing Sunday maybe open their eyes, and maybe it's not as much of a trap game as it is when the schedule came out. I looked at Arizona and I said, everyone's just counting that as a win. Arizona's a sneaky good team. They are a very, very they're a hard team to contain offensively, and I haven't been able to watch a lot of Arizona Cardinals football games this year because of their schedule and our schedule, me being at the Lions games, traveling home. I only live like 20 minutes away, but it seems like it takes me 2.5 hours to get home after games. So I haven't gotten a chance to really sit down and watch the Cardinals. I'm probably going to maybe tomorrow sit down and watch their game against the Rams and kind of see how that looked. And if I can, I'm going to dive into that Buffalo game as well. But I'm familiar with Kyler Murray. I'm familiar with Marvin Harrison Jr. Those are two guys that we can't let continue to get hot. They had a nice little connection going on Sunday when they played the Rams, a team that we struggled with. All right. What I've noticed in this goes back to 2 years ago. Maybe it's 3 years ago. I can't remember. When we played the Philadelphia Eagles on the opening week at home, I noticed that the Eagles and also the Seattle Seahawks, they found something that really worked against Detroit. And I think Arizona is going to try to do the same thing because all 3 of these teams have a mobile quarterback. And out of the 3, I think I think Kyler Murray is the most mobile of the 3. Like, this guy's like trying to tackle a gnat. Okay. And I mean that in a respectful way. He's a little guy. He's squirmy. He can squirt out of a lot of different places. He's hard to wrap up. He's hard to contain. He's hard to get an angle on because he's so fast. And I've heard players from other teams say, you think you have a good angle on him, and then he just kicks it into another gear that you didn't know was possible for a guy of his size. Like, he's not an overwhelmingly physical guy, but he's just so quick. It's hard to get an angle on him and beat him to a spot on the sideline. What I seen from the Eagles and the Seahawks was, and this was years ago, so it's just kind of popping in my head. I'm not saying that this is what's going to make or break the Detroit Lions. We struggled against those types of quarterbacks when they do a hard play action and they boot their quarterback out of the pocket and they move the pocket to outside of the tackle box and just kind of create more space for their quarterbacks to operate. They kind of flow their plays that way. And talking about Kyler Murray, I think that's what he's really good at is play action because he's dangerous. All right. If Arizona can establish their running game and get James Conner going and just kind of picking up 4 yards at a time, like I think that's going to be a problem for the Lions because then they're going to start biting on that play action. But our run defense is so good that I'm curious to see how Arizona lines up against us. And I don't want to get too far ahead because we got our game day show coming up that me and Will are going to be doing here in the next couple days. Friday morning, we'll probably have that out. Maybe Friday night. I'm not sure. We'll see. But just kind of previewing a little bit of what to expect because Arizona is a team that we haven't played in a couple years. Our first road game, Arizona looked really good against Sunday. The Lions are struggling. I just wanted to talk about some things, man, because this is a big game. All right. My goal is I like to take the schedule and I like to chop it into games of 4. All right. It was a lot easier when we had a 16 game schedule, but with it being 17, I still try to keep it into games of 4. If we could just continue taking 4 games at a time and going 3-1, we're good. Everything's fine. So with that being said, to get to 4-1 or 3-1, it means we have to win the next 2. And those are against opponents that I've already mentioned, the Seattle Seahawks on Monday night and the Arizona Cardinals coming up on Sunday. Mobile quarterbacks. Let's just kind of focus on Arizona for now, though. But Kyler Murray is a problem, okay? These mobile quarterbacks, it's a good thing we have a lot of defensive linemen. We are really going to have to be very, very disciplined with our defensive ends containing Kyler Murray and keeping him in the pocket in the middle, not letting him boot out and get out wide. And I'm mainly talking about Aiden Hutchinson because I know he's an absolute beast. Look, this dude is on fire, 4.5 sacks on the season already. But sometimes Hutch hits that spin moves and he could kind of lose a little contain. And I think Hutch has to really, really be disciplined this game. Okay. You cannot be giving up those big plays, or if you're going to do a spin move, you have to know what's on the other side. You're someone else, a linebacker, or someone as a nickel, someone has to be able to get into that flat and defend the edge and the perimeter and not let Kyler Murray get out there because if he's getting out on that edge, it's going to be a long day for this Detroit Lions defense. But, you know, this isn't just about Kyler Murray. This is about Aaron Glenn as well. And Aaron Glenn's defense is only giving up 20 points per game. In the NFL, that's pretty damn good. Now, the days of like the 85 Bears or the teams of the early 2000s, like the Steelers and the Ravens, when they were putting out like these dominant defenses, those days are pretty much done, okay? The way the NFL is with these rules and you can't hit quarterbacks, you can't touch receivers, you can't tackle certain ways anymore, like you really have to be very, very disciplined defensively, and I think Aaron Glenn has done an excellent job. Now, when I talk about discipline, we got to mention Terrion Arnold, man. I said it the other day. He's getting picked on, okay? And he's going to have a tough show again because I can see him or Carlton Davis being matched up against Marvin Harrison Jr. He's a problem, okay? I'm a Michigan Wolverines fan. I'm very familiar with Marvin Harrison Jr. He's going to be a problem, and I don't want to see him start to get hot against the Detroit Lions. He's a rookie. He's got a grading curve or a learning curve too, but his physical traits are off the charts, man. Like this is probably one of the guys that'll be in the league for a very, very, very long time. And he's going to be a problem for a very long time. Luckily, he's not in our division. We don't have to see him often, but that's Kyler Murray's biggest weapon. Okay. When I look at the rest of the Carolina offense, or not, I don't know why I keep saying Carolina, the Cardinals offense, James Conner really only concerns me in the red zone, okay? He's kind of what we need to start doing back in the Detroit Lions way of pounding the rock inside the red zone like we did with Jamal Williams, like we did last year with David Montgomery. We got to get back to that. That's what the Cardinals do as well. That's their guy. If we can keep them out of the red zone, kind of limit them to 3 points, we're going to be okay. And I'm trying to keep this very vague, guys, because I got a lot of ideas, a lot of stuff I want to put out in this game day episode. But our secondary, Marvin Harrison Jr., I think numbers-wise, we have a lot of guys we can put on Marvin Harrison Jr. We talk about Brian Branch, who had the highest graded Detroit Lions in coverage last week against the Buccaneers, had an interception, a pass breakup, some nice tackles. He even blitzed a couple times and didn't quite get home because Baker got the ball out pretty fast, but that's just another aspect we could kind of see. Maybe if we're using a spy, I think – obviously, you usually want to use a linebacker. I'm aware, guys, but Aaron Glenn can get creative. I can see some situations where maybe if Iffy Melifon was healthy, and maybe we can throw Brian Branch into some type of hybrid linebacker position and use him to spy Kyler Murray a little bit. Like there's some options, some wrinkles, but we got to wait on that injury report to come out. So matchup wise, this is going to be a tough one with how mobile Kyler Murray is. Looking at the rest of the schedule for the season, this is probably the biggest dual threat quarterback that the Detroit Lions are going to face. And we're only talking about his legs. He's passing at a high rate too. So this guy's pretty deadly, not just with his legs, but with his arm too, man. Like he's a former, or he still is, I guess, technically a professional baseball player. He's got a cannon of arm. I think who's he drafted by? Was it Oakland? I think he was drafted by the Oakland A's a few years ago, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know why that popped in my head. I could be wrong on that. Someone leave it in the comments and let me know. But he's got a passer rating on the year, quarterback rating of 91.3, 428 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Like he's taking care of the football. He's moving the chains. Like he could do it all, man. We're really going to have our hands full with Kyler Murray. But I trust Aaron Glenn. I trust this defense. I trust this defensive line. We have to make him as uncomfortable as possible. Hutch, stay disciplined. DJ Reader, push that pocket right back into his face as fast as possible. Let's get him on the ground. Let's hit him. Let's make him at least run for his life and tire him out. Like if you're running that Arizona Heat, he could easily just kind of remind me of like that. I want to see a game like the Chiefs versus 49ers, or no, who the Chiefs play? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, when they played them in the Super Bowl a couple years ago. And we all know about Patrick Mahomes, but the Buccaneers defense was making him run for his life. All right. That's kind of the game I need the Detroit Lions to have. Just dominant up front, own the trenches, make Kyler's life miserable. Guys, just a quick little preview tonight. All right. We're getting this game day show ready, kind of giving you some teasers on what we're going to be talking about and what you're going to be hearing on Friday. Stick around. Please, please, please hit that subscribe button. I will be back later tonight with Will. We got a good episode for you guys. Stick around. Thanks for watching.